Hi friends, welcome to my channel, and this is part 6 in this video. And in this playlist basically we are configuring the VMware disaster recovery by using the VMware replication and VMware site recovery manager. So since first to 5 video we have discussed and deployed and configured the VMware replication. If you have not watched that series, go and watch from part 1 to part 5, in which we have deployed the vSphere replication appliance. We have configured the replication, we have done the recovery, and we also done the failback. So everything is there. If you want to go and check first how the VMware replication appliance work and how to configure it, go and watch those series. And then the next step is configuring the SRM. So SRM is basically going to automate your recovery of the virtual machine and fail back from one production site to DR site. So basically SRM give you ability to do some automation and do some more customization in while recovering the your workload from production site to recovery site or the target site. So if you see in this diagram, what basically we have, so we have few ESXi host at the protected side, which is production side, and then we have VR appliance, which is basically a vSphere replication appliance. On top of that, we require SRM server. SRM server is a basically site recovery manager. It can be a virtual appliance or a Windows based server where you can install the installer also for the SRM server. So it can be both, like appliance or the Windows based server. And definitely you need a vCenter server, which is going to link. So SRM, your SRM and vSphere replication is going to map with the vCenter server, and it's going to plug in. Also it's required the SRM plugin, so it's automatically going to plug in, install the required plugin on your vCenter server. So we are going to see everything in demo environment, how we can configure the SRM, and how we can link the link with vCenter, and how we can automate the uh, basically a disaster recovery by using the SRM and replication manager. So this is some prerequisites for the site manager setup. So the first thing, we require a 2 vCenter server running with a compatible version of VMware vSphere vCenter server. So basically, if you talk about the my environment, I have deployed the SRM, and I have deployed the appliance, which is VR appliance 8.3.0, which is going to be compatible with vCenter server 7. So I'm going to deploy the SRM also, which is 8.3.0. So same, so you need to make sure the version you have you are going to deploy is compatible with your vCenter server, and you require to download the same compatible version of like replication appliance and the SRM both. And second thing, a Windows server for each site to install SRM. So if you want to install on a Windows machine, then you require a Windows server to be ready, like it's need to be joined in domain and required IP address identification and everything. And if you require the SRM appliance, you are planning to deploy SRM appliance, then definitely you require a compute resource on your vCenter infrastructure, like on ESXi host. So it's not a very high configuration machine, which we will see in hardware requirement. So next thing, one VR application on each site, appliance on each site with a compatible version. So as I discussed, we require both VR appliance and SRM and vCenter server. So you require one VR appliance, which we have already deployed in last few videos. And also one more important thing, SRM Windows means SRM server box can be outside of the cluster, but you have to make sure the vSphere replication appliance must be always within the same environment, means within the same cluster and all. So here we are talking about the vCenter server cluster. So this is going to be a hardware requirement for SRM virtual appliance. So if you are going to deploy light edition, basically a light configuration machine, which support less than 1000 machine, is required 2 CPU, 8 gig of memory, and 16 gig and 4 gig 2 disks. And if you are going to deploy standard, which requires supports more than 1000 VMs, it requires 4 vCPUs, 16 gig of memory, and 16 and 4 GB of disk. So this is the configuration which you require, some prerequisites before you are going to deploy the site recovery manager. So make sure you have appliance, VR appliance already deployed and everything is configured. So if you talk about my demo environment, this is my demo environment. So this is top one is my VMware production side, which is my prod side, and this is VMware DR side, which having D configured as I'm using as a DR. And we have two virtual machine here, which is VM prod to DR side replicated virtual machines. So currently, if you see here on the production side, I got my Windows 10 console machine from where I am going to configure all the vSphere products. So this is a Windows 10 machine, and second one is my Win2K12 DC, which is my Active Directory server. This is my ISCSI server, which is providing storage to my ESXi environment. And if you talk about this is my vCenter server, which is running VCSS 7.0, and this is my replication appliance, going to be a vSphere replication 8.3.0, which is already deployed, and I'm going to deploy this IN prod SRM 01 in this video. And we got 2 ESXi hosts in production side and same 2 ESXi on DR side also, and I got same version of VCS 7 in my DR side and replication appliance. So this is already deployed. So in this video I am going to basically focusing on deploying the SRM on production and DR side, because we require the same VR appliance and SRM on both sides. So I have already deployed this VR appliance, so now we are looking to deploy SRM server in this, or SRM virtual appliance, you can say. So if you talk here, this is my domain environment. So server, I have already installed Active Directory and DNS is running. This is my storage server, which is providing the storage to my infrastructure ESXi host, and this is my Windows 10 machine. So if you want to read more about the SRM, you can go here on basically on VMware side, which is docs.vmware.com, and this is Ian site recovery manager. It will show you everything in detail about the VMware installation and everything, and also you can select the required version from here. So this is my production site. I got 2 ESXi host, which is running also here as a virtual machines, and this is my VR machine I have already deployed. This is my VCSA. So if I go on menu and shortcuts and I will show site recovery, you will see I have only VMware vSphere replication running currently, and the status is going to be okay. So I will show you for both the infrastructure, basically DR and production. So you can see it's going to be 8.3.0 and the IP address of the server, and same here you can see this is 8.3.0. so I'm going to deploy 8.3.0 SRM also in this video. So I have already downloaded the SRM 8.3.0. so I'm going to mount on my DVD media, and if I go to bin, you will see we got VMDK5, OVF and certificate, everything. So these 5 files we need to deploy the SRM machine. So I'm going on my DR site, production site first, and then I'm going to deploy, select my cluster, and just going to click on deploy OVF template, and then it's going to ask you the file. So I'm going to provide my files. So it's going to be these 5 files. So I'm going to open and then click next, and you need to put the VM name. So I'm going to provide the virtual machine name and everything. So this is going to be a in prod SRM 01. So now this is my virtual machine name, and going to click next, and then select the cluster. So I'm going to leave I have one cluster, so I'm going to select that cluster. Just click next. I'm going to review the settings now. So this is going to detect the certificate and product name. So this is VMware Site Recovery Manager appliance, and the version and vendor and all other details. So click next, and then we have license agreement. I accept the license agreement, click next, and this is the configuration which we require. So deploy with 2 core and 8 gig. If you select 4 core, it's going to be a 4 core and 12 gig. So just click 2 CPUs, click next, and select this data store cluster, click next, and then I'm going to select my virtual machine network, which is VMNet, click next, and here we require some password for the initial root password. We require password for administrator. So I'm going to put all these details one by one. Also we require a NTP server. So NTP server is going to be my domain controller. So host name, I'm going to use the same INDR IN prod SRM01 initial root database password. So I'm going to set my data password to my default secret password. I'm going to leave this as default. Scroll down, and now in the network section select IPv4. If you require to deploy in IPv6, you have also option here. So IPv4 and static, and then you require a gateway. So 192.168.0.1, and domain name I'm going to put victorinfosol.lan, and domain search path is going to be the same, and the domain server name is going to my DNS, which is 201, and IP address for this appliance is going to be 205. So this is my appliance IP 205. So I'm going to put this, and subnet mask is 24-bit. So click next, and just click on finish. So now you can see the OVF is getting import. So this is going to take some time and few minutes, and then we need to power on that machine. So I'm going to, till the time this is doing this task, I'm going to deploy the same virtual machine, SRM virtual machine, on my DR side. So I'm going on host and cluster, and just going to, so I'm going to deploy both, follow the same procedure to deploy here. Just the only thing which is going to be a change is name for the SRM machine and the IP address and all. Click on upload files, and select all 5 files, click open, and this is going to validate it, and just click next now. So it's going to ask you the name of the virtual machine. So this is going to be a INDS DR SRM01. I'm going to just put that name here, click next, and select the cluster. So DR cluster, click next, and this is going to take some time in validating all 5 files. So now you can review the all details of the 5 files or the appliance. So click next, and license, I accept the license agreement, click next, and I'm going to use this 2 CPUs, 8 gig of memory. So click next, and now we need to select the storage where we want to keep the files of this virtual appliance. So selecting my DR cluster storage, so click next, and the network, going to use the same VMNet, click next, and now we need to type all details like password and everything. So I'm going to put my all credential here for initial admin credential, and root password for the Linux appliance, since this is going to be a Linux based appliance. So NTP server is going to be 201, and hostname I'm going to just paste it. So initial database password I'm going to set, and then we require the IP configuration. So IP is static, and then we require a gateway, so I'm going to put my gateway, and the domain search, and again we require a domain name and domain search, so both is going to be same. So domain name server, my AD server, and the IP address of the SRM machine, which is for in this DR side it's going to 126, so, and the subnet mask is 24-bit. Just click next, and now click on finish. So it's going to import the OVF now. So if I go to prod side, you can see the OVF deployment is approx about to finish, so it's 91% done. So it's going to take some time. So now at the primary side we got the SRM machine deployed, so I'm just going to power on this machine. So click on power on the DR side it's still getting deployed, so we are pretty good now. So it's not going to take much time for the configuring the virtual machine and providing the remote access or management access. So I'm going to just open this in console. So now you can see this machine is powered on, and we can go and log into the VM, basically appliance management console. So I'm going to open this page on my browser. So this is going to be HTTPS and the appliance IP address, so it's going to be a 205, and the appliance management port, so 5480. So it's going to take some time to get this port up for the management. So now we got the appliance management console up, and I'm going to proceed. So this is going to be a VMware SRM appliance management, so I'm going to log in with the administrator credential. So now you can see we have logged in, but it's saying the to protect the virtual machine we need to configure the appliance. So I'm going to click on configure. I'm going to provide the platform service controller name and all other details. So in my condition I having the VCSA itself with running embedded platform service controller, so I'm going to provide my VCSA details. So in prod VCSA 01 dot vector infosol.lan, and this is going to be administrator at vSphere local, and the password for administrator account. So when I click next, okay, so mine is not a prod, so it's only VCSS 01. So click next now. So it's going to ask you the security alert, so click on connect, and now we got our vCenter server name VCSS 01. So click next and connect once again, and then it's going to give you the site name and other details. So I'm going to put India and prod here, and the administrator email ID I'm going to put administrator at vectorinfosol.com, and I'm going to select my local host is going to be IP address. I'm going to use the IP address, so this is good, and leave the default extension ID. Click next and review the information and just click on finish. So it's going to take some time now to configure the site recovery manager as per our requirement which we have selected. So this is good. You can close this SRM virtual machine console, and now you can see the OVF is deployed on DR site also. So I'm going to power on this machine also and configure that. So click on power on button. So it's going to take few minutes to get boot up and everything up. So now you can see registering site recovery in manager. So it's going to register everything, and we'll see the configuration is completed soon. So SRM machine is still booting. So now you can see successful appliance configured. So this is good. So you can see now we got reconfigure and unregistered button. So the part of the SRM configuration from the appliance management console is done. Now we can log out from here. And if I now go to my production site and go to shortcut or SRM site recovery, you will see two things here: SRM and first thing you will see the replication, and second thing is uh, um, the site recovery manager. So both status must be a okay state. So we'll see. Okay, so now I can see both is in green, so we are good from here. Now we only required to configure the same uh, like appliance from the SRM appliance from the console of the DR. So I'm going to open https:// so it's going to be 192.168.0.126 and port 5480. So I'm going to log in here with the admin account. So this is for my DR. So we got configure appliance button, so click on it, and now we are going to put our vCenter details. So indr vcsa.0.vector infosol.lan, and going to put my administrator account details. So click on next. It's going to ask you security alert, click connect. Now you can see your vCenter server where it's going to link now. So click next and click on connect, and it's going to ask you the name extension. So I'm going to put India DR and administrator email ID. So I'm going to put administrator at vectorinfosol.com, and I'm going to select the local host as a IP address. So click next, and you are done. So it's going to take some time. So now basically we have configure our we have deployed our appliance for the replication, vSphere replication, and site recovery manager both on the production and DR side. So it's going to finish the configuration soon. So now basically we got this infrastructure up and running with the basically vCenter server with SRM and replication appliance both at the production and protected and recovery side. So this is good. So now in next videos I'm going to focus on doing the configuring the replication by using the SRM for the virtual machines, and we are going to do some recovery and failover for the virtual machine. So you can see this is also done at the DR side. So I'm good to log out from the SRM appliance management, and I can close this also. And now at the DR final check, we need to go on shortcuts, or you can directly go to the site recovery. So on the site recovery you will see both as a green OK status for the replication appliance and the site recovery manager appliance. So this is going to take few seconds now. So this is good. So we got both appliances deployed successfully at the prod and DR side. So in next video I am going to configure this environment, configure the SRM for the site link, and then we are going to have some replication also. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe me for more videos, and if you have any query, any question related to this, you can always post me in my given mail IDs.